Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Critically Casual. I'm your host, Reed Cuffs, and joining me as always is the fantabulous Dorkydev. Hi, Dev, how are you?
I'm all right. Woke up with a migraine.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I still have the nausea. Took some painkillers, and that seemed to kill the migraine. But the nausea is still there in full force, and it's a trip.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It is what it is.
Gonna be able to power through, get through a full hour of this bullshit.
God, I hope so.
All right. Let's see how this goes then. Let's get in here. Let's start talking about this week's show, which this week, because you know I'm so smart, I called it This is Madness. It's madness. Keep it simple.
That's fair.
Uh-huh.
That's fair.
So yeah, we're going into X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then we're going to talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And we'll finish the show after that. News, wrap up, all that fun stuff. So,
Sweet.
any last words?
Nope. Should be good.
All right, cool. Let's get in here. Let's start talking about this week, or this show, the first movie, which is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Woo.
Yay! Which was released May 1st, 2009. Shockingly after Iron Man.
Mhm.
We got a movie of this quality from a Marvel property. Mind you, this was the second at least panned and understandably panned X-Men movie. Um Budget of $150 million. It opened to an $85 million weekend with a gross US and Canada of 179 and worldwide $373 million.
There was
Uh,
money.
yeah.
Money there somewhere.
Man, like how to talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine that hasn't already probably been said 1,000 times. This movie is bad. Like, there's no two ways about it. There's no like, well, maybe it's just misunderstood. Like, as much as I disagree, I can understand how people can defend the prequels, right?
Mhm.
Of like the Star Wars movies. There's no of that for this. Outside of maybe the fact that it gave Ryan Reynolds Deadpool.
After years, it took what, 10 years before he finally managed to get Deadpool.
After this,
Yeah.
about I think it was 2016 if I remember correctly was Deadpool.
Deadpool
Um
1, 2016. Yep. So
Damn, I'm good.
yeah, it took eight
I think
years.
2019 was Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, there was that, and it took leaking a trailer or the fight scene that they had, right?
Hmm.
It took leaking that entire thing that like someone visually made as the concept, which I mean, like, sure, didn't necessarily, it sucks that it came to that point, but at the same time, both those things led to arguably one of the best casting and arguably one of the best like comic accurate movies that have been made. Like, if you could say anything about Deadpool, it's got that. Like, in the sense of like accuracy to the character being like, if I could take that character out of the movie and put him in the comics, he would react the same.
Hmm.
That is my accuracy thing. Um can't say that for this. Because the Deadpool in this was garbage. Man, is Logan very inconsistent about what he can do. There's some really like all I gotta say is, walk out, walk out, walk, and
Yeah,
like
the
people know what
worst
scene I'm talking
scene
about for
ever. Yeah.
like just Jesus Christ. And then the claws. Like, it's sad to say that the claws in Last Stand, because they're like, added prosthetics, um
They're
make
real.
these ones they're real. Like, you could CGI claws, okay, sure, if you need it like in certain scenes, right?
Hmm.
Makes sense, because you're not going to be able to do certain things super practically with things that long, like if you're going in for a stabbing, someone like Maybe, maybe you need the CGI ones. Understandable, you know? But the CGI ones in the first X-Men movie looked better. The scene where the claws come out at that guy's neck
Hmm.
look better than this. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they changed what software they were using or what. But like the entire time, the claws are so distracting once they happen. Because like all I gotta say is the bathroom scene, and you're sitting there being like, dude, how am I supposed to believe this? Because like usually I'll grade a movie based off of like the movie itself.
Hmm.
But this isn't a standalone. This is part of a franchise. So like if you're coming out after like we've seen really good effects, like I don't know. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like what the fuck did you do?
They spent all of their budget on cast and skipped out on everything else. That's how it feels to me when it comes to this. Because they've got a really interesting cast. I like a lot of the actors that they chose for the roles that they got. None of them really felt incredibly out of place. Like, they,
Even Will I Am doesn't feel out of place. I know people give a lot of shit to Will in this movie. Like in this movie, he's not bad.
yeah.
Like
I mean, he wasn't also given much to work with. Like, honestly,
no,
there's
no.
only so much you
His
can do with a
character,
guy who has 10 lines.
yeah,
Like,
100%. Like I think that's also part of why people probably give him slack for it. But, in my opinion, given, you know, that like he doesn't have a lot to go off of, um I think he did a pretty good job with the what he was given. Sure, people might be like, "Oh, it's a little over the top and stuff." I'm like, "Well, this movie is either over the top or not at all." Like,
like I feel like if I were to compare two actors directly against each other, I prefer Will I Am over Taylor Kish. Like I prefer Spectre over Gambit. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like
God,
Gambit goes a little
again,
too much, or like it just
again,
doesn't fit.
feeling bad for Taylor. We've talked about Taylor Kish a few times on this show. Given that one of our literally our hard line in the sand on our video game movie list is Battleship, a movie he was in.
Hmm.
Um, and we've talked about other movies he's been in because like he was in 21 Bridges, and I talked about him there. And I've brought up that he was Remy LeBeau, Gambit in this movie. I've brought up that he did John Carter. Um, like the dude has bad luck movie wise. Like I don't think these are his faults. Cause like he's not a bad actor. Like he's just given shit to work with. Like this one, I don't know how you turn Gambit into like the Gambit we love from the comics if you are given what he was given for this.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how you're supposed to translate that. So again, don't know how, like, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
this movie makes no sense. Like, Gambit's, like, fucking butchered in this. Blob is even butchered in this somehow. Like, I love Kevin Durand, but, like, it's nothing against him. It's just the character is kind of dumb in this.
Hmm.
Um,
I do like the delivery of Kevin Durant though. Like even though
oh, yeah.
Blob sucks, I liked how Kevin Durant delivered it still. Compared to like Taylor, even though Gambit sucked and he tried his best, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like a weird grouping of characters.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, Liv Schreiber is fine as Sabretooth, but like I don't think Sabretooth really has much to do in this movie. Like this movie's trying to do so much in such a short time cuz this movie's also under 2 hours.
Yes.
Like and it feels long, but not it does the thing. What was the movie we just reviewed that I said this about? Where it's long, but it feels long, but it's too short. You know what I mean? At the
Hmm.
same time. Morbius. It pulls a Morbius. It has too many plots going on at the same time, but like but not in the way that you would think. It's like each act is its own plot,
Yeah. I mean,
which doesn't work.
it just doesn't work too because like I told you, we watched this together. For anyone who doesn't know, Dev and I sat down last night and watched this. Thank you, Dev. That was fun.
No problem.
But like we were talking about the stuff as it was happening. Like we have the cold open with the group that we assemble, and then we jump to 6 years later, and suddenly Hugh Jackman has a wife, like or a girlfriend, whatever, someone he significantly cares about. And then from there, like the plot triggers, like what actually happens in this movie goes on. But we didn't get to see him establish any relationship with this person, and then
Oh.
that relationship with that person is the driving force for the entire movie. And it's supposed to be like the origin story of everything that happens, but we skip like a couple hundred years in Wolverine's life. So is it really an origin story if we skip the origin? Really? Like sure.
Well, I mean, there was some parts in it that I was like, man, I would have preferred seeing this over the rest of the movie. Like, what part was that I said that? I'm like, oh, it was. When was that? That was in. Damn it, I'm trying to think about it. Like, I'm trying to remember when I said that because it wasn't early in the movie.
Mhm.
I'm like just replaying it in my head right now.
The whole movie, that's gonna take a while.
Well, I've seen it enough times. Like I was talking to Steven, I think this might be the X-Men movie I've seen the most outside of like X2 and X1.
And it makes sense though, because like this movie has a lot of really fun, like dumb, stupid shit that you would think would make a decent like action movie. But
The old people.
oh, the old
That
people.
time. That remember I said that I'm like, I wish we had more time here.
Yeah, because they were very
Um,
nice, and one of them looked a lot like Hugh Jackman.
But like that scene also leads into the scene that I went like, see, this is probably why I've watched this 1,000 times. Because like that stupid goddamn bike sequence is stupid over the top, but kind of entertaining.
Yeah, and it just kind of that's I would say ultimately the biggest problem with this movie is the writing because they write 10 different storylines into one story. They write interesting action scenes and then just kind of connect the dots in between. And then the stuff that they come up with is stupid. And additionally, like the powers from all the heroes, like I still don't know what Agent Zero like.
No idea.
Yeah,
Hold on. Let me look him up real quick.
Yeah, I don't know what his superpower is. I know that they changed Gambit because Gambit, I don't think has the powers that they portray him having at some point. Like, I know
He does.
I'm pretty. Isn't
He's-
Gambit's power like he converts energy into or mass into energy or something like that?
No, he uses kinetic energy.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so this. Oh, wait, that's who this is supposed to be.
Who's Agent Zero supposed to be?
That's supposed to be David North. No. What? He's part of the Weapon X program and everything.
I don't know that character personally.
North's primary mutant power is the ability to absorb the kinetic energy generated by an impact without harm to himself. There's no limits to his power. North is able to survive falls from tremendous height, energy blasts, and being struck by superhumanly strong foes without being injured.
But he's really good at shooting guns and can do flips and
When he was in the Weapon X program, he got a slight healing factor. So he's like immune to toxins and stuff.
So they essentially turned him into the superhero that they needed and gave him his own name. Like he doesn't Agent Zero doesn't actually exist.
No, this is they've used a different character.
And then like other characters that really shouldn't be in the movie, like Scott Summers
Yeah.
has no right in being in this movie. But I guess it's supposed to like help establish and like the negativity between Scott and Wolverine later on. But then ultimately that doesn't make sense because what happens at the end of this movie? So, and God, the freaking terrible CGI doesn't stop with Wolverine's claws. It's everything basically. Like the background scenes that are all on green screen are terrible. The cameo by Sir Patrick Stewart is terrible. Like there's just a lot of bad stuff in this movie.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know how to put it. 'Cause, like, so I'm looking at the stuff on here. He has kinetic absorption in the movie, apparently. Superhuman agility and superhuman human reflexes. He's in odorosity.
Oh,
He has no
just
scent, so it makes it hard for
do one more attention. Come back to me, Shar.
Wolverine to sense him. And then he's also just a master marksman.
Okay. Originally
And
known as
explosions are
Maverick.
his weakness.
Explosions are his weakness,
Yeah,
but he absorbs energy.
kinetic energy.
So him and Gambit are enemies forever because they have opposite powers.
Yeah, technically Gambit wouldn't be able to kill Zero. Because he uses kinetic energy.
Okay.
Yeah, if I think I'm right about that. Hold on.
I could have sworn Gambit's power was convert potential energy stored in inanimate objects into pure kinetic energy. Okay. So it's essentially he converts mass into
Potential.
energy.
Well, not mass.
Kind of.
Well, the mass doesn't get converted to anything. It's just the mass's potential energy is turned into kinetic energy.
Highly
Because he doesn't convert the card into energy. You know what I mean?
No, but the energy within the card
becomes energized into kinetic energy.
Yeah, and which essentially is how that's how nuclear bombs work. Is the energy within an atom is released, and that's an explosion. So
Pretty much, yeah.
but it says here, charging the item creates highly explosive results. So maybe he could defeat if he makes explosions.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, this is just.
I also don't know, I feel like it was stupid that we had that they part of the inciting storyline is he's growing up and he's going with this secret group of other mutant people to start attacking others and yada blah 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 blah, and then he decides to leave because it's gone too far for him. But then 6 years later, of course, it makes sense that we don't know what happened because it's all supposed to be from Wolverine's perspective. But 6 years later, suddenly that group is pretty much already is disbanded anyways. So, and then they're hunting down the people anyways. So it almost feels like Wolverine's big old I'm leaving was kind of pointless. They all left anyways. Well, except for Stryker and Victor. And I guess technically Fred Duke as well, but see, Fred Duke in this movie confuses me because I can't. Is he any side? Like he said, he's still you have Wolverine has to fight him to be able to get him to tell him information.
Yeah, but he's scared to give the information because what if they find out that I talked? You know, that kind of thing.
They end up using Fred's powers in the Weapon 11 project.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So they used Spectre, even though Spectre left, and they used Cyclops, even though Cyclops was like the newest person there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just bad writing, just more of the bad stuff.
I don't know what you're referring to. This writing is fantastic.
Totally fan.
Best writing.
Yeah, it honestly just feels like they wanted to make like a high energy, just a bunch of random bullshit happens movie, which they did, just not well.
Agreed. Um, it's just it's schlop. That's what this movie is. Schlop. Like you're not getting anything of real quality or anything. You're just getting schlop.
Look at this explosion and a guy riding out of the explosion on a green screen motorcycle. On a motorcycle. Green screen, that one.
Yes.
So I guess anything else? Any other words, things that you want to talk about before we move on?
Um, this movie's dumb. That's all I got.
Hey. Things got a little weird with the video because my cat stepped on my keyboard and I didn't realize it, but everything's still here. And they could
Oh,
hear us
God
the
damn
whole
it.
time.
Were we not visible?
Nope.
I'm gonna put a strict no cats policy.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I mean, like, you don't know how many times, like, my door doesn't close anymore. Like, I'll shut it and I can lock it, but with just a poke, it'll open up again, so it doesn't latch completely. So, like, I'll put stuff in front of the doorway. I'll put, like, shoes and a bunch of stuff just to block the door from opening. And this fucking cat, will still somehow manage to open the door just enough to be able to squeeze through. And then she's stuck in my room, so she can't get back out. Uh, as much as I'd love to do a no cats policy, it's not possible.
God damn it, Steven. It's a requirement.
So, let's move on from there. I'll give you your popcorn kernels, Dev. How many you give it to this?
Man, that's tough. Because, like, it's arguably one of the worst superhero movies we've watched on the show. But we have seen far worse superhero movies.
Uh-huh. Like, at least with this movie, there were some minor things that could kind of make it a little okay.
Gotta give it a 4, I think.
Okay.
I think a 4.
I think that's respectable. That's what I was going to give it as well.
Dope.
Like, it's worse than your average movie for sure. But if you're a kid, you'd probably enjoy watching this.
And as someone who watched it a lot as a kid, well,
I mean, hey, on IMDb, it has a 6.5 out of 10. Wow. It's
someone's smoking something.
clearly we need some of that.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Are we ready for our next movie then?
Steven, I do have to ask something.
What's that?
Do we so no, I'll ask after we're
Yes,
done with
you're gonna ask
Strange.
after we're done with the next movie.
Okay.
Because that's the argument I've been prepping for the last few days.
Oh, don't worry. I agree with you.
Okay. I hope. Oh. Okay, so let's get in here. Let's start talking about our next movie then, which is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Which released May 6, 2022 with an opening weekend of $187 million. Gross worldwide so far, $449 million. This movie's doing pretty fucking good for itself.
Yeah.
And genuinely, man, I had a blast with this. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I know there's some things that are easy to fucking pull apart. Like, sometimes Scarlet Witch is a little inconsistent.
Mhm.
But, like, I'm not gonna lie, I think this was enjoyable. Um, and I don't know, like this. I talked to somebody about it. Like this phase of Marvel, I think, is arguably the most interesting
Agreed.
because we have, in the sense of like, it has had the most diverse set of movies.
Hmm.
We've had No Way Home, which is a classic Marvel superhero movie. It hits the beats and it does it fantastically, right? It's Marvel showing that like, hey, we're still in our prime. Eternals, which more a like almost an art house style
Hmm.
Marvel movie. Shang-Chi, Kung Fu flick. And fucking awesome. Uh, Black Widow, spy thriller. We got another spy thriller into the franchise, like Winter Soldier. Not my favorite spy thriller, but hey, I respect it. Um, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is arguably the most serious Marvel movie we've had, in the sense of like quips not being like all over the place,
Yeah, not as
and,
many
and
one
it,
liners.
but also being like, dude, there is some moments in this movie I'm like, fuck, did you just do that?
No, yeah, I agree. Like this,
Fuck.
I so I'm not gonna straight out say that this is my favorite Marvel movie because I don't know quite yet. But I love what they did with this. I really do. I love the camera work. Honestly, this movie has my favorite camera work in all of the Marvel movies put together. Like including Eternals, because I thought Eternals had like great imagery and stuff like that. But I just love the cinematography in this movie so much more. I love the stuff that they do, like the villain that they have in this movie. From what I understand, it wasn't alluded to at all in the commercials.
No idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it was people theorized, but like it was never confirmed.
Yeah. So
Which is perfect trailer work, by the way. Leave us like guessing.
yeah.
Um,
So the
like
antagonist
yeah.
and the main baddie was great. I loved how they turned the baddie into like this cosmic horror essentially. This movie is almost a horror movie, but at the same time it's not. Like it has the horror angles and the horror tropes, but it doesn't quite completely
Give into it.
yeah, give into it. So it adds a lot of flavor and personality, and I love Sam Raimi. Like this was just great. And there was a lot of gruesome stuff in there that I was like, is this really appropriate for the PG-13 audience? Like,
Really a
whoa.
Marvel? Is this a Marvel movie?
It was definitely a Marvel movie.
um, I think for me, my only major complaints, and I've seen this a little bit amongst a lot of people, is that America Chavez does feel a little like more of a MacGuffin than a person.
Hmm.
Which is unfair to a really like beloved character in the comics. This is nothing against I hope I say your name right. Z Z Xochitl Gomez, Miss Gomez.
That is not how you pronounce it. I just don't remember how it's pronounced.
Okay. Um, I'm bad at names. We all know this. Like, I'm bad at pronouncing. What was it? What was my favorite one that I got from that one name generator, Steven? Um, it was fuck. It was um hold on. I'm using it to see if I can get one similar. If I can get one of the words. If I have one of the words, I'll remember how what it was. Um,
I'm gonna play something. I'm gonna play how the name is supposed to be heard for anyone who's in chat. You won't be able to hear it, sadly.
well,
Sochiel.
let me unmute.
So chill.
Sochiel.
Sochiel, got it.
Sochiel.
So chill. Okay. So chill Gomez.
Yes. Fuck, where is it? I had such a good. So I don't know if you remember, like a few weeks ago, we did the Benedict Cumberbatch name generator.
Oh yeah, I wasn't a
Uh,
part of that, but it was like
I had arguably the best.
something Cupperbund or something like that.
Fuck.
I mean, it
Damn it.
doesn't
Where is
matter.
it?
It doesn't matter for the movie, but I get you.
No, it doesn't. But I was gonna say, like I'm surprised I don't mess up, like what is his name? Bulbasaur Candygram's name all the time. You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. God, these are all so good. I think my food already here. Damn, that was fast. Um,
Need to step away for a moment?
yeah, just for a moment.
Okay, no worries. I can vamp for a little bit while you go get
Yeah,
your food
I
from
think I
outside.
should be able to hear you all right.
Probably. Who knows? Just turn up the volume on your headphones, walk a little bit away quickly, and then by the time I'm saying a bunch of this random bullshit, hopefully you'll be done opening your door, grabbing your food, and walking back to the thing. I mean, not some of you in the chat can't see that Dev is in the background, but I can see that Dev is in the background. And aha! There they are. Hi, Dev.
Sorry, I disappeared into the light.
You really like no one else could really see it, but I saw it, and it was like bright light. You bent over and you were gone.
Well, I love that like this area right here.
Mhm,
Like you can't quite see it on the podcast cut, but like it's either a black void
mhm.
or it's so white you can't see the door.
Yeah.
Like there's a door right there. That like if it's like later in the day you can see it, but midday this area is just a white void that like it just exists there. Love how like just consistently like you never see what's coming from that doorway.
I'll let you know if
Um
somebody sneaks in.
yeah, thank you. No, this is definitely up there. This continues my thing that I think we are entering the next like just the fact that we're entering a phase of Marvel that we really don't know what we're building towards yet.
Hmm.
We're getting a list like a very diverse set of movies. Not to say that like any of the other phases weren't necessarily diverse because we've had like different movies within them. Like again, like phase 2 had a diverse set of movies. Not all of them good, but like it was diverse. So what we had like the heist movie with Ant-Man. Yeah, the spy movie with Winter Soldier, um, the like Shakespearean epic almost, Dark World. You had Iron Man 3, which was actually, dealing with like post traumatic stress and stuff like that over like crazy events. And we had Age of Ultron, which isn't my favorite Avengers movie, but like, it was very different. Like this is definitely feeling it's kind of weird to say. Phase 4 feels like phase 2, but almost a little bit more fine tuned.
I would agree with
Um,
I would say Phase 4 right now is them. They're definitely experimenting with what works and what doesn't, what audiences enjoy what. So I don't necessarily, based off of what we've seen in the past year or so, I sadly don't see major work with the Eternals being done. Like I could probably see them being thrown in other people's movies, but I doubt they're going to get another one by themselves.
yeah, potentially not. We'll see what
No.
happens. It's entirely possible. I mean, like, let's be real. I mean, Thor Dark World didn't get the best response, but like then we got Thor Ragnarok. You just rework it a little bit, find like maybe use a different director or something that can use the cast in a different way. And then all of a sudden you end up with a movie that people rave about and argue as being like the number one movie in the franchise. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't think the Eternals are done. I think we'll get an Eternal sequel. But like the other thing about this movie that I want to point out is that like, not gonna lie, fucking stellar cameos.
Yeah.
Fantastic job on the cameos. Um, we'll talk about those in spoiler, but just well fucking done. Um, like that's how I have to put it. It was nice to see what they did with that. Yeah, and I gotta say I liked the whole like the fact that we got like to kind of see how like consistent Strange is throughout the multiverse sometimes.
Yeah. That was my favorite thing about this is Doctor Strange is ultimately doomed to be a jackass. and ruin some shit. Because he's still like he's smart and yes, he's powerful, but he's too egotistical all the same. As it's said a couple of times, he has to be the one in control of the knife when it comes to surgery. So like he thinks that he can plan for everything. And one of the things I actually enjoyed was in the multiversal hopping was there was a brief moment of Strange being like, maybe I didn't do the right thing. Like, but then it kind of doesn't conclude that way. It ultimately is like, I'm Doctor Strange. I can do what I want.
Yeah, I mean, he did it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm just like I'm blown away that this movie like happened. You know what I mean? Because like it did some things I didn't expect. It did things that like I think are just it did some brutal shit. Um, and also just I mean I thoroughly enjoyed that like it's this is the first movie where you're like, hey, by the way, make sure you're watching the shows as well.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed by that personally. Like, I feel like if they wanted to create a universe, they should all keep it within the same medium. And like, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the Marvel TV shows because they're more than an hour and 2 hour long in length, so you can have more time to develop a story and character and stuff like that.
Like Moon Knight.
Like Moon Knight. But at the same time, I also was disappointed being like, if somebody hasn't seen WandaVision, which some people aren't going to pay $15 a month just to see Disney, just for Disney Plus, like, they're at a complete loss for what happens in this movie.
No, I
Well,
just
not at
like
a
someone who
complete loss, but like you can infer to it eventually what happens. But like, I, it just to me that I don't like that.
I mean, for me, I do and I don't, if that makes sense. Like, I love it in the sense that like it makes it feel like okay, coming from the era of when I was watching Marvel TV back when it was on ABC, okay? When
Mm.
we had Agent Carter and Agents of Shield. And also during that time we had the Netflix shows,
Yeah.
which always alluded to the MCU,
Mm-hmm.
but like they never confirmed it. You know what I mean? Like it was always like, well, they're I'm not big and green or have a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Um Things like that. Or the event. Like the New York thing that happened. Like it's always alluded to but never like confirmed. It feels good to like have things be concrete, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Because like Agents of Shield, even the part that like they should have showed up in, which was the helicarrier in Age of Ultron, like that was set up in Agents of Shield,
I mean,
but it doesn't like. But the thing about it is, no one from Agents of Shield shows up in that scene.
yeah. I mean, the whole onslaught in the second Avengers movie, I believe, is a reaction to what happens in the Agents of Shield, because they're after said MacGuffin. I don't remember which stone
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. The whole like the attacking of the fort.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah. That takes place because of that.
yeah, and I remember that specifically at the time. I was also upset with that because I was like, how the hell did this thing get from here to there without anyone telling me what happened? And it's like, oh, you have to watch 5 to 6 hours of a TV show on Netflix to be able to understand what happened between these two movies. And I was like, oh, come on.
No, I agree because like it would have like see that thing getting to where it was like after Hydra fell and stuff like that. You can infer, or after Hydra like took down Shield and stuff, like you can infer kind of why that fell in the wrong hands. But at the same fucking time, it would have been fucking cool to see Coulson back in the movies,
Yeah.
right? And people like it would have thrown people for a fucking loop and been like, "What?" But like all it would have taken was Nick being like, just telling like like if Nick and Coulson showed up at the barn
Mm-hmm.
and they're being like, "What the fuck? How is he here?" And Coulson just like all Nick has to be is like, "Project Tahiti. Don't worry about it." Fans of the show know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Fans of the movies, that's all they need. And so, like, in this one, like, one of my coworkers, like, when we talked about it last night, as I was leaving, he's like, I realized that, like, I was, damn, I should have watched it, but I still really enjoyed this movie. Because he was immediately like, yeah, no, I fucking loved this. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't watch WandaVision, it's fine. Um, I think it's one of those things where, like, I think the shows will help enhance the movies if you've watched them. Like, I'm so looking forward to Blade because I wonder what, like, cryptids that we'll see in other stuff are going to play a factor. Oh, this is one of those moments for me where I get to be like that giddy, like, kid who loves the crossovers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is me being like, yes, let's fucking do this shit.
I hear you. One thing about this movie that I enjoyed too is, yes, it's a multiversal movie. You're going across different dimensions. It is still a very small scale story. Like, all it has to deal with is Doctor Strange and the people in the cast. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not like Eternals, where if they fail, the entire Earth is going to be destroyed. And I think I preferred that, honestly. Like, I don't mind that it's not a galaxy Earth's ending event. I mean, it could be, but I like what we got. And the one thing that my biggest complaint is, like how you said with America Chavez, is she's more of a MacGuffin rather than a person. And then when we get the resolution of the film, I kind of feel like the whole movie was a little pointless. But hey, we got the movie that we got. We had a lot of really interesting scenes and stuff. I saw a lot of people talking about this movie and asking, like, is it worth it? Is it actually a good movie? And I think the main argument behind that is people just don't like horror. So they don't like the horror style that was thrown in on this.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things where, like, if it's not your, like, I think, again, this is why I love this phase so far, is that, like, if it's not your cup of tea, it's just not your cup of tea, and that's fine. I think we've entered that Marvel phase where, like, you don't have to like every Marvel movie coming out now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm interested. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm so okay with that. Like, I'm enjoying all of them, obviously. Like, so far, it hasn't missed for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the one that I disliked or I, like, didn't like the most was Black Widow, and it's not like I really necessarily disliked it. It was just that, like, it wasn't my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, dude, I'm all in on just where we're going.
One thing I'm interested to see what they do is they essentially have like 3 different storylines in the Marvel universe that they're working with right now. Because they have the intergalactic threats with Sword. They have the multidimensional threats with Loki and Doctor Strange here. And then they have like the more surface level stuff with Blade, and even though they're not necessarily surface level, they're more like supernatural. But we're gonna get
The Earthbound shit.
exactly. So we have 3 different
Earthbound,
levels.
Galactic, and Multiversal.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how they're gonna like combine all of these different storylines eventually, or if they're just gonna keep separating them into different stories in the Marvel universe. Like, if I think it'd be really interesting if after Eternals, like Blade and the Black Knight and all of them actually never get to meet like people doing all the intergalactic stuff, like Captain Marvel and I can't remember freaking the name of the guy who assembled everything.
Galaxy?
No. I mean, yes, they'll never see Guardians of the Galaxy either with Thor, but I'm thinking of
Nick Fury?
yes, thank you. But
There we go.
I don't know why Nick
I mean,
Fury wasn't in my mind there.
literally said it earlier this podcast.
I know. Words.
I had to
Hard.
think about the list of people who were like kind of in space.
And he's the big boss man of Shield / Sword.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's really cool, and then, I wouldn't mind it that they eventually cross over depending on, like, the threat. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, like, a big enough threat that, like, is, like, hey, kinda like in the comics, 'cause you never know who's gonna show up in an event comic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who's gonna show up as being, like, the pivotal roles that you're like, "Oh my god, I guess they've kind of been building up to this," despite it not having like, the comics never really alluding to this. This makes perfect sense. Like, let's say intergalactically, Null finally shows up, King in Black here ready to fucking fight. And who fucking beats him? Fucking like Casey Lang or some shit, right? Um, like you have the entire Young Avengers there because we've built them up this like during this phase, which again, can't wait. Because somehow like we're gonna get a displaced Wiccan and Quick as like Young Avengers.
I don't know
And I
those
just
characters.
Scarlet Witch's kids
Oh. Okay.
who are Wiccan and Quick in the comics.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm so fucking down for where this phase goes. Just it's exactly what I've like. This just continues exactly what I wanted from phase 4, which is like keep me guessing what's coming, because like sure after a certain point we knew during the Infinity Saga we knew exactly what things were building to after Avengers. Like okay, we're building towards Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was always that background lingering thing. But we got that at the end of phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
This phase, we're still building to that, to what is going to be the threat.
Yeah. Like,
who is going to be the big bad?
I do appreciate that because with phase 1, it was just introducing the characters, and then we get hints of Thanos at the start at phase 2. And then this is how it is here in phase 4. It's like we had our big bad at the end of phase 3. Phase 4 is introduction of some new characters, but also the overarching storyline. So, like, it's not all new characters either. We've got the introductions already. So they get to develop past the whole, like, oh, this is how I got my superpowers, and actually just get to go on a fun romp. Which,
yeah,
I think part of the reason,
Exist.
part of the reason I really enjoy like Doctor Strange, why originally when Doctor Strange came out, it was one of my favorites, is the fact that it's fucking magic. Like, it doesn't matter if the stuff that he does doesn't make sense because magic isn't real. so in that instance, I can kind of suspend my disbelief a little bit more, and it's more fun for me. Like sci-fi, I have a little bit of hesitancy towards because it's kind of the same thing. But in sci-fi, you can kind of believe that we'll get there eventually. Hopefully. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But like I really enjoyed what they did with this movie. And I don't know, I'd watch it again. And again. Probably again. I'm honestly debating going to theaters again to watch this because it was cool. And my only complaint with watching it in theaters this time was packed theater. Wasn't what I wanted, I really enjoy seeing a movie by myself in the movie theater.
I had fun. I got some loaded fries, enjoyed those because I went VIP. So I sat there in a nice chair, a nice little. Wasn't the recliners in the front 2 rows, but it was a nice seat and all that. So I enjoyed myself. Points?
Sure, let's go with points.
Popcorns?
So for me and my popcorns, I think I'm gonna give this one an 8.5 out of 10.
That is actually exactly where I was putting it as well.
Uh-oh.
Funny enough. Like, I had thought about that. I was like, I think I'm going to put this at an 8.5.
Yeah. Like, it's real close to being a really awesome, like 10 out of 10 movie. Really damn close. It's just
there's just some minor things.
yeah, just some minor thing. But they build up after a while, so.
Which brings us to the next part, which is the list.
All right, the list.
The list. So, just so you're all aware, this may be I don't know how to do this without like it being minor spoiler. The X-Men are not getting added to the list.
No, they're not. Thank God.
Hey, listen,
we went through all of that effort.
Listen, I told you my caveat, and they was that like it had to be who we like it had to show that the X-Men that from that universe exist. They probably do exist. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it yet. So until then, that stays on its own, which means I have built up the list on the side, on the farthest side as well, on its own. As an X-Men movie list. So just as like a preliminary for when we eventually need it, it's already there. You know what I mean? Because we probably will need it at some point.
I can see it. Yep, there's the X. Okay. Of course you did.
I've been building this as we've been doing this, okay? So, it's ready to go. It's the preliminary list.
It's Dev's preliminary list.
Which means it is 100% open to negotiations. Outside of a couple things like Logan has to be number 1.
Yeah, I got no complaints with that one. There's no better X-Men movie than Logan.
There really isn't. So yeah. Go, and then I just need to do that row like that.
35 fucking Marvel.
Yes. So do we want to do the X-Men list first or do the Marvel list first?
Let's just ignore the X-Men list altogether.
I mean, all it's gonna be is just like if you disagree with something, we can figure out where it needs to go.
You actually think Wolverine is better than Dark Phoenix? Oh yeah, I could actually see it a little. There's more enjoyment.
Yes, I do, Stephen.
It took me a moment.
I 100% stand by that decision. Especially given where Apocalypse ends with really fucking cool suits, and it just goes to what we got. Like, I'm sorry. Even that pisses me off.
I'm kind of surprised with your New Mutants placement, too, because I think that's a pretty terrible movie.
Like, it's less... I think its problem is that it's unmemorable, which puts it, like, higher than just bad, if that makes sense, in my book. Like, these two are just bad movies. The two X-Men movies there, Last Stand and Origins. While New Mutants isn't necessarily a bad movie, it's just kind of a bland movie.
I would argue that forgettable is probably the worst sin that a movie could be, though.
I'm willing to move that around. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to move it, I can move it. But I'm just saying why I did it the way I did.
It would make me happier if New Mutants wasn't in the top 10. If it was 11th, I'd be happier.
I can give Kelsey Grammer a solid 10th then.
Okay. And then let's see, X-Men Apocalypse, the original X-Men. Let's say Apocalypse, I'm okay being down there. Original X-Men.
Just because it aged lower. You know what I mean?
Let's see, X-Men. Right now, the thing that's catching my mind is probably the 2 Deadpool movies.
Okay.
Because I enjoyed them personally more than I enjoyed the X-Men movies.
Okay. Do you want to put them higher?
why not? I would say move Deadpool. Yeah, but where we move them is the question.
Do we put them above first class or under first class?
Let's go under first class. Yeah, but only because my thought process there is, while Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are both movies in the X-Men universe and they have X-Men characters, I think First Class is a better X-Men movie because
It is the best X-Men movie.
Yeah, there's actually X-Men in it, you know?
Yes. Okay, well, then we have our X-Men movie list. Also, like, we've sort of hinted at a movie list we're making. Wait till we actually do it, folks. It'll happen. We have a plan for it. But the X-Men movie list stands as follows. At number 13, X-Men Dark Phoenix. Number 12, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Number 11, New Mutants. Number 10, X-Men The Last Stand. Number 9, X-Men Apocalypse. Number 8, X-Men. Number 7, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 6, Wolverine. Number 5, X2, X-Men United. Number 4, Deadpool 2. Number 3, Deadpool. Number 2, X-Men First Class. And number 1, Logan. The reason why this list was so easy to do is because I had it sort of mapped out based off of where I think they would rank. Anyways, just in case that we got to the point where they would be added to the MCU list, which is where we need to put Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, starting from the bottom and going to the top.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
At number 35, we have the arguably one of the worst superhero movies ever made. We have Morbius, number 34, Venom, number 33, Venom Let There Be Carnage, number 32, Spider-Man 3, number 31, Thor Dark World, number 30, Amazing Spider-Man 2, number 29, Incredible Hulk, number 28, Thor, number 27, Iron Man 2, number 26, Iron Man 3, number 25, Spider-Man, number 24, Spider-Man 2, number 23, Avengers Age of Ultron, number 22, Black Widow, number 21, Captain Marvel, number 20, Eternals, number 19, Amazing Spider-Man, number 18, Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 17, Ant-Man. Number 16, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 15, The Avengers. Number 14, Iron Man. Number 13, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 12, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Number 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 10, Doctor Strange. Number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 8, Black Panther. Number 7, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 6, Thor Ragnarok. Number 5, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Number 4, Avengers Infinity War. Number 3, Captain America Civil War. Number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 1, Avengers Endgame. Where do we put?
I just noticed that you can't spell Avengers.
Oh.
Averagers.
Okay, whatever.
Avengers.
I'm dyslexic. What do you want from me? Are they all wrong?
I just fixed the 1 and 4 here. Let's see.
Okay. The first one's right. Age of Ultron's right, and I just fixed Endgame.
Yeah,
so.
15 is right as well. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Listen. I'm a dumbass. Okay. Where are we putting it?
So, first question I have, is it better than the original Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Okay.
It's top 10, at least.
Okay. So then Spider-Man Homecoming, the second Spider-Man movie.
I think it's better than that. I think it's better than Black Panther, and I would say it's better than Spider-Man Far From Home, which then we enter the 6, which is the 6 movies that like are arguably like you could literally rotate around in any order of like arguably like the best Marvel movies. Like it's in that group in my opinion. So now it's the 7 movies that I'll be like, damn, I really enjoyed these. Which one do I want to watch? Which is awesome to say. That 2 out of this phase so far are on that list. Because everything else on that list, I think was 3 from this phase. Oh my god, this phase is killing it. Because everything else in that phase was phase 3. Damn, just Marvel still got it, dude.
The thing that I'm worried about with like this listing here is I'm kind of thinking for the future.
Yeah.
I feel like a reason that this movie came out so well, in my mind, is the horror aspect. And a good part of the horror is the unknown and the unexpected. But after like 2 or 3 rewatches of this, it's still going to be unknown and unexpected. Is that still going to like hold up? You know, because with Thor Ragnarok, first thought was it's better than Thor. For me, first thought was it's better than Thor Ragnarok. But I'm thinking, like, in the long run, I'll probably end up watching Thor Ragnarok more than I'm watching Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, just because the tone and the mood and the enjoyment of Thor Ragnarok. Like, that's a fun movie that you can throw on at any point in time and no one will care. While Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be one of those movies that you want to, like, show to somebody once so they can, like, experience it for the first time. But once they get past that first experience, it's not going to be as good.
So maybe number 7?
I'm thinking so. As much as it pains me to say it, I'm thinking number 7. Because, like I said, this is so far, like, my favorite approach that they've done for Marvel movies. By far.
I'm fine with number 7. That feels like a good spot for it. Like, it literally, like, because this movie immediately it bumped out its predecessor into it. Which, by the way, can we just say, is it kind of insane our list literally has all 3 of the MCU mainline Spider-Man movies in the top 10? Like, that's how much we liked those. Like, damn.
Tom Holland's great.
Yeah, dude, Spider-Man is fantastic. I'm like, damn, he is consistently, all of the movies he's in is up on in the top 10, by the way. All 6 movies he's been in, the 3 of his, Captain America and the 2 Avengers movies he's been in, all in the top 10. Which is kind of fucking awesome. So, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that placement at 7. Because again, like I said, like I could watch if I'm feeling like I want to do a like did I spell something wrong? Okay, got it. Good save. Hey, dude, trust me, there's a lot of fucking titles.
It's okay. I messed up the title today too. Not the Doctor Strange one, but I did mess up a title today.
Which one did you mess up?
Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Yeah, I did X-Men Origins and then Wolverine. And it's X-Men Origins
Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So I guess that makes the list as follows now. At 36, Morbius. Number 35, Venom. Number 34, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Number 33, Spider-Man 3. Number 32, Thor Dark World. Number 31, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 30, Incredible Hulk. Number 29, Thor. Number 28, Iron Man 2. Number 27, Iron Man 3. Number 26, Spider-Man. Number 25, Spider-Man 2. Number 24, Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 23, Black Widow. Number 22, Captain Marvel. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of fucking, like, as someone who deals with, like, I'm pretty sure I deal with, like, dyslexia of some form. Dude, sometimes seeing everything blur together for a second when I'm, like, scrolling, like, things move.
Yeah, your eye will catch one word, and then it'll scroll, and you'll catch the second.
Yes. Back to it. Number 21, Eternals. Number 20, Amazing Spider-Man. Number 19, Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 18, Ant-Man. Number 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 16, The Avengers. Number 15, Iron Man. Number 14, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 13, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Number 12, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 11, Doctor Strange. Number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 9, Black Panther. Number 8, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 7, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Number 6, Thor Ragnarok. Number 5, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Number 4, Avengers Infinity War. Number 3, Captain America Civil War. Number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 1, Avengers Endgame. It's a solid-ass list. Outside of, like, some of the stuff that we've had to add to the bottom, because damn it. Like, damn fucking Morbius for literally forcing itself into the MCU. It didn't have to.
Part of me hopes that we don't get the characters from the X-Men universe, like the exact characters, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because we've already got a list that's 36 movies long. And if they do, that means it's going to be a 14th movie to the X-Men thing, and you move all 14 over, it's 50 fucking Marvel movies in the last 20 goddamn years.
Imagine if we get Blade in that as well. The new Blade and the old Blade.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get old Blade anytime soon.
No, but it would be funny. It's just like in a multiversal thing, you know, like Marshall Ali is like like fighting, and all of a sudden like a portal opens behind him, and it's Wesley Snipes walking out
As long as Ryan
as
Reynolds
Blade.
is also there. And then you get to meet Deadpool.
If Mahershala Ali's Blade is battling with Deadpool and those two walk out, I would fucking lose my shit at how fucking hilarious that would be. Okay, you have no idea. That would actually like talk about like moments that like can only be built up in your head.
Mm.
That would be a weird hype moment where like, how the fuck is Marvel pulling this off? Like, what the fuck? Why am I excited for this? But Marvel can pull that off.
Good.
So yeah, I can't wait because yeah, we now got what we got 2 months, and then we're Thor comes out, right? Is
Thor the
that 2
Dark,
months?
Thor Love and Thunder. Let's see.
Yeah. Should be I think.
July 8th.
Yep. So Thor: Love and Thunder just around the corner.
Yeah, basically 2 months away.
So can't fucking wait. This this just keeps proving that like, you know, people are like, Marvel's, I don't know if Marvel's gonna have it after phase 3, man. I don't know. I'm like, dude, they still got it.
Yeah, it's good.
Fucking got it.
Great.
So
All right. Ready to spoil? Because
Yeah,
I'm
let's get
excited
ready
for
to
this
spoil.
part.
Yes. Let's get ready to spoiler.
All right. Anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, leave now or forever hold thy
Forever
peace.
hold your peace.
Or your mouth will be sealed shut.
Yes. What mouth?
Yeah. So, okay.
Do we want to start with that? Do
No.
we want to start with that?
I want
Okay, where do you want to
but
start?
Let's start with who the antagonist in this movie is.
Brilliant choice.
I agree.
Like, goddamn, did Elizabeth Olsen get to fucking act her socks off?
Mm-hmm.
And she did a fantastic job as fucking always as Wanda. And like, dude, that whole scene, like, the whole scene with the Illuminati that she did,
Mm-hmm.
fuck,
Yeah, that was by
She was-
far
terrifying.
like the whole like Elizabeth Olsen in this whole movie is goddamn a beast, and that's what I meant earlier. Like Sam Raimi turned her into a cosmic horror of interdimensional power, and it was terrifying. Like one of the
When she
scenes
comes out of the mirror.
yeah, when she crawls out of the mirror like Grudge, or when she's like tailing after them with her broken ankle, I'm assuming, and she has like blood on her face or oil, I'm assuming, on her face, but her eyes
It's
are
blood.
glowing red, and everything else is black and dark behind her, and it's like, whoa, that's terrifying. But then
Yeah.
yeah. And then we get the Illuminati stuff, which that was the moment I was like, there's no way. This isn't in a Marvel movie, really? Wow.
Dude.
Like,
dude, that fucking started with that little, just the little boom. And I went, oh, fuck me sideways. What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Like literally.
Okay.
I loved how I just loved it because it starts so soft and so slow, and it just builds up so quickly where it's just like, hey, Wanda, John Krasinski as Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. Another great cameo.
The suit is perfect.
Yes.
Okay. I don't want, like, as now everyone's fan casted John Krasinski as Reed Richards, okay?
Mhm.
Personally, I think Marvel does better when, like, if we're introducing a new role, when we cast someone who isn't as well known.
Mhm.
Unless it's like, you know, like certain like side roles and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. Like having when Charlize Theron show up in the end. She's the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension.
Mhm.
And she's Dormammu's daughter, but she's a good guy in the comics.
Okay, I was wondering what that was, honestly.
Yes.
'Cause-
She's a dark dimensional being.
Uh-huh.
She's the Sorcerer Supreme there. She's Dormammu's daughter, but she's a good guy. And actually, like, this weird kind of like there's an entangled love between her and Strange that's like, can they work, can they not kind of thing. It's like one of those kind of like love tragedies things where it's like they do love each other and stuff in the comics. It was really cool that they introduced her that way.
Mhm.
But like
seeing her
like
confused.
that role. I don't see necessarily because like it's not going to be a standalone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Role. She's cast into the Doctor Strange movie.
yeah.
Um, I think personally, Raul Kahali would be fantastic as Reed Richards. Um, he's from iZombie. He's also been in those Netflix horror movies or horror shows. Um,
I have to remember who he is. Raul.
he's been in Funhouse Productions as well.
Raul Kohli. I saw him. Okay. I mean, yeah, I could see that. Like, I could see him being, um,
Reed, he's got that nerdiness down so well in iZombie that like you almost like he's almost got like he could really just take what he did there
mhm.
and kind of modify it a little bit and he'd have it in my opinion. Not to say John Krasinski wouldn't have the role down either, but you know, it's just personal opinion. Um but yeah, do that scene because like they brought back so like to everyone who maybe didn't see the trailers, the Illuminati is in this movie. And they are dude, and this scene with the Illuminati sets up so much, okay?
Mhm.
We learn about incursions. Did you remember what I talked about when the Illuminati was formed in the mainline like the mainline comics?
No, we
What
do
it
not.
was? Okay. They were formed because of incursions. I
Mhm.
mean, the Illuminati existed before that, but like the main thing that happened with the Illuminati during like more recent runs was the incursion events leading up to Secret Wars. Um, when they literally had to use the Infinity Gauntlet to essentially deflect back another planet, and they kept both universes alive because incursions were all of a sudden happening across the multiverse. Like planets were just like universes were just colliding.
Mhm.
Um, because essentially what it is the Earth is like your apex of the multiverse. Okay, all the Earths are like your thread,
Mhm.
and when they start colliding, that's how the incursion happens. Because essentially, like as the barriers between the multiverse get thinner and thinner, all of a sudden, like there's an incursion point on the planet,
Mhm.
and like at that point, you could see the other Earth. So what they did is they used the Infinity Gauntlet, they pushed it away, but then the gauntlet broke. Um, and they kicked Captain America out because Cap was like, "We can't kill another planet." The Illuminati decides like, "Fuck it, we're gonna kill another planet." These superheroes, Beast, Namor, Black Panther, Reed Richards, and a handful of other Tony Stark and a handful of others, Black Bolt. They all like, fuck it, like we don't got another option. We're gonna blow up the other planet,
Mhm.
and they start doing that. Um, so like the implications in this scene alone are just for growth in the in the fucking in not just the multiverse, but just like in the MCU is insane to me, and I love it. Okay, as
Mhm.
just like it was such a like it's such a small needle drop for someone who doesn't know, but as someone who does know, that was like them dropping an atom bomb for
Mhm.
me
But
of just information.
for me, like the Illuminati, I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting seeing the different universe characters and whatnot. But from my context, like the Illuminati exists, but they're not like trying to save the multiverse. They're only trying to save their dimension, and that's it.
Yes,
Which is fine.
yes,
That's okay, I guess. That's fine. Um, and then from there, the reason why the Illuminati was built in this world was because of Doctor Strange starting an incursion. So, like, that all makes sense to me. Um, I don't mind it, though. I don't think now that we've seen the Illuminati in this movie, I don't think that we're gonna get one in like the main MCU Marvel 616 timeline. You know.
good drop right
Yeah,
there. Like,
I loved it and I hated it at the same time because it's like it makes sense, but at the same time, isn't this universe like 1999999 whatever in
we
the
saw
grand
that
scale?
universe. That was the universe that they showed up in, where Strange's little like destroyed universe was.
Okay.
Uh, Dave, I think it was a way to show that, like, hey, this for us, this is 616 now,
Mhm.
like for the MCU,
Yeah.
which means that like we're in a multiverse of multiverses in a
Hmm.
sense,
Yeah.
because like every show, is pretty much like, yeah, no, we're the 616, The comic universe is the 616, and now the MCU is 616. So in reality, there's a multiverse beyond the multiverse.
I mean, I was just
For Marvel.
confused. I thought it was funny because that scene was like, "Oh, we're Universe 838 and you're 616," and I was like, "Wait, why would the people who are coming up with the numbering system name their own universe number 838? Like this is the 838th universe that they've established, even though that's their universe. You know, the only one that most of them have been in.
Eh, it's
So,
just an estimate estimate of how many universes there might be. Who knows?
mhm.
Um, but like, I think we could get an Illuminati because like it would be something that Strange could see and be like, maybe they're onto something that like if incursions start happening, it could be something that Strange like throws out there as a thing that maybe they need to do.
I don't
Um,
know. Like I think yes and no at the same time. Because like I said, at the end of this movie, nothing really changes with Doctor Strange. If not, he's even worse of an egomaniac than he was before. Like, so I could kind of see it maybe, but at the same time, I think because he's seen like the Illuminati and what they've done and how miserably they failed at their job, I feel like he would think that that's not the right approach.
well, hear me on this. I think he would think he could do it better.
Oh, probably actually.
That's why. That's why I see it happening.
Yeah, because
Which
like
let's talk about who they cast for the Illuminati.
yes.
We had in order on IMDb real quick. We had Captain Carter, played by Haley Atwell, which fantastic. Um, I'm going off the bottom because I mean technically we had Mordo as well.
Hmm.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Um,
Pay for effort.
thank you. We had Lashana Lynch, who played not Monica because that's the daughter, Maria Rambeau, from Captain Marvel. Um, she played Captain Marvel in this universe, which was fucking cool. Good nod right there, as you know, like, hey, just a small thing changes, and that's what happens. You had John Krasinski as Reed Richards, which as soon as where she Dr. Christine Palmer, played by Rachel McAdams, said like part of the Baxter Foundation. I went, no, Fantastic Four, because that's the building they live in, is the Baxter Building.
Hmm.
And then we got him. I'm like, fuck, they actually pulled it. They actually got him. Okay. Um, we got Anson Mount back as Black Bolt after being Black Bolt in the Inhumans show.
Hmm.
Um, and then of course, the one everyone was so curious to see how this character, like what version of this character he was playing. We had Patrick Stewart coming in as Professor Charles Xavier in a yellow hover chair.
Hmm. With I love the faint theme that they added into, like as you see his hand in the yellow chair, and it's like,
You hear the X-Men. Yeah. Well, you hear you hear not that one, you hear the
it was X-Men 97.
was that 97?
Yeah.
I thought I heard like the regular X-Men. But he also does say, he says the fucking line, not all who are wander are lost.
Hmm.
And immediately I'm like, damn it, dude, he still got it.
Hmm.
And I agree with people. It's like, how do you recast? Like, even we've had it recast, but like, how do you like Patrick Stewart's just perfect in that fucking role. Um, he just is. He is Professor Charles Xavier. There's like as much as James McAvoy was Professor Xavier as well, but like when you think of him, you think of you
Yeah.
think of Patrick Stewart.
Like when you think James McAvoy, the role that I think of for him is
Split.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't think of Professor Xavier in First Class or anything like that.
Nope.
It's Split.
Patrick Stewart, I think of two roles.
So, Jean-Luc Picard, Sean-Luc,
Yep.
and
Jean-Luc Picard and Professor Charles Xavier.
Mhm.
So, goddamn, like as soon as we got that room full of them, I'm like, fuck me, this is fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, it's like it's a lot of nods to like the actual Illuminati and the comics stuff like that, but this universe's version of it, like these all make sense. And notice there was an empty chair as well at the end. Um, I think that might have been so. Like the rumor was that like Tom Cruise was going to be Superior Iron Man in
Yeah,
this.
I
There was a lot of that rumor. I never gave into it because I'm like, until I see something, I don't want to like put that into my brain that he's going to show up.
mhm.
Because like we had the Ultron bots and stuff, and I was like, oh man, these kind of look like if like Superior Iron Man made these and
I
stuff like
did
that.
like
I'm like,
that Bill Hader voice was still in the Ultron, by the way. I thought that was cool. That was a nice little nod.
yeah, no, it was good, dude. Like, dude, oh,
So, like with the Tony Stark thing, I thought like I saw a bunch of articles and rumors like, oh, he's gonna be in the movie and he's gonna be Iron Man now because it's Superior, right? Where he uses the nanobots and it doesn't cover his face completely; it just does like the outline around him.
yeah, it does an outline around him, and it does. It's not nano, it's alien tech.
Okay, so yeah, like that comes out of his bones.
Yes.
Ugh. Ow, but cool.
It's like, yeah, it's an alien thing, and it actually starts to like possess him and stuff like that and corrupt him.
Yeah. But like the arguments in the articles and stuff that I saw were like Tom Cruise decided not to play Iron Man because it didn't show enough of his face. So I was like, it makes sense if he does the one where it's like just square outlines his face. It's like, oh, I could
Yeah.
see him being that Iron Man then.
Yeah. Maybe, but you know that didn't happen, and I'm fine with that.
I'm totally fine.
I'm curious who that last chair is for.
It's the honorary chair for Doctor Strange. May he rest in peace.
A little bit all over the place.
Yeah, a little here, a little there, a bit back there. I loved how they, by the way, like, so you know, I laughed when you said the Black Marvel, only because I feel like a problem with the Marvel like heroes is a lot of them are named Black something. We've got Black Widow, we've got Black Bolt, we've got Black Adam. That's DC. We've got Black Panther, like.
DC also has Black Lightning.
See, like and part of me, I'll be completely honest. I don't have the best impulse control, and me being raised with the people I was raised with, I think of some pretty inappropriate stuff sometimes. And like I saw the character of Black Bolt on the screen. I was like, I know that character. It's Black something. But I don't want to say that out loud because I don't know if I'll be confused as a racist here. Like,
Yeah.
but still, when we get to like, let's talk about the deaths now, since we're at the Illuminati. Like, I loved how it started. Like I said earlier, like I loved Reed Richards walking up, being the person who's like, Wanda, I am also a father. I have kids who would be about the age of your kids. I understand the pain that you're going through, but you need to stop because you're hurting innocent people and possessing an innocent woman. And yeah, he's like, Black Bolt over here can kill you with a whisper.
You know, can kill you with one word from his mouth.
What
To which
mouth?
Wanda's response is, "What mouth?" And it's immediately Black Bolt going
Mm-hmm.
as his mouth is covered, and then going,
Yeah, like I
and you
love.
just see his skull encave.
Yeah, his skull like does a and it caves in, and his eye turns a little bit, and he just collapses. And I was like, "Fuck!"
Yes, that was the moment I'm like, "Oh, these guys are fucked."
Yeah,
These guys are so fucked.
yeah. Like that was the one part where I was simultaneous, like, "Oh my god, wow," because part of me, because with Wanda. Yes, she has all these super amazing powers, but that's the only time in this movie where you see her change reality like that. In that aspect where she completely erases his mouth. And I loved it because he was licking his lips to talk. He was like, like he was doing that. And then what mouth? And then he like reaches up and it's that like I loved how accidental it was cuz he was horrified. You could see the horror in his face and that was and since it had nowhere to go, it just
Yep.
oh. And then it only gets like I thought that was terrible. Genuinely, I was like, oh my god, that has to be the worst thing that they do in this. And I was kind of close, except for the fact that she literally turns Reed Richards into a pile of noodles and then blow up his fucking brain. Like, and especially too.
That was horrifying.
And how nonchalant it was too. Like Reed's like literally his fingers are separating and it's slowly going up his arms, and then his legs start straining. He's being flung into like he's being crucified, and then it pulls out to a wide shot, and all you get is like a, and his head's gone, and a red glow of power. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. And then she continues to kill. I think the next one was Captain Carter by slicing her in half with her own shield.
That was horrifying.
But yes and no. I feel like they cut back on that one, which was
a little bit. But like the imagery of it, like being like pulled back where the shield's bloody in the wall, and you just see, like, is all you need, honestly. And I'm like, fuck, in hell, you literally cut her in half
with her own favorite weapon.
Fuck.
And then
you get the two infinity powered people fighting,
which that I thought was going to be different. I genuinely did. Like I thought that was going to be much more climactic than it was, because like we get the infinity fight, it looks cool, but Wanda easily gets the upper hand. It's really quick, and then Captain Marvel's killed because she has rocks fall on her. At least we assume she's killed because we see her hand fall under a pile of rubble. Which, to me, out of all of those deaths, is the least impactful. Because I feel like Captain Marvel could easily have a fucking skyscraper fall on her and survive. But for some reason, this statue, enough to kill her.
Okay, not our Captain Marvel, so, like, we don't know.
Yeah. And then...
no limitations.
And then the next death that I thought was a little confusing was Professor Xavier's. Because he's there and he's looping himself into Wanda, the one who's supposed to be there, not the one who's dream walking, and he gets his neck snapped inside her head, which snaps his neck in reality and kills him.
His neck doesn't snap. She killed his consciousness.
Okay, that doesn't quite make sense to me, but whatever.
She killed, like, essentially she killed his soul.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he wasn't there anymore. So, what was the body gonna do?
Yes,
it went limp.
I don't think of Professor Xavier's telekinesis as a transferal of his soul.
It isn't. It isn't. It's kind of like, because he's had like battles inside of other people's heads that like have left him like literally like he could have died kind of stuff. Like when he's not, like he's had his like consciousness pulled from his body before from psychic links and stuff. Funny enough, in the game that got me into the X-Men and into stuff, X-Men Legends 1, you actually got to go save Xavier from Nightmare because his consciousness has been pulled out, and you have to fight like gladiator versions of your team that you went in with, and some of the other like X-Men in the game to save him.
Isn't it like another thing in the comics, like Professor Xavier can die, but then his consciousness, he's so powerful that his whole spiritual consciousness will go into another body and slowly take it over?
He can if his body's dying, yes. But if his mind dies, that's a different thing. If that makes sense.
But I literally remember it like he was completely destroyed, completely eradicated, and then like a couple issues later, he's there in somebody else's body. Like, I'm Professor Xavier.
like I said, like as long as he has the ability to like, because like he was killed in a telekinetic thing that killed him. If that makes sense. Like again, we also don't understand what limitations this universe has. So like we're arguing semantics we may not have the answers to.
You're not wrong.
There's that as well. Um, what else? I wish that the Strange Supreme we got was the Strange Supreme from the What If series. You know what I mean?
Um, yes and no. I do and I don't. Like, I think it would have been interesting to see the super mutated Strange, but I think that would have pulled too much away from this movie. Like, I kind of liked that we got to see like Zombie Strange with the Soul of the Damned cloak. That was really cool. I thought that was interesting imagery. I don't like. I really do not like the third eye effect. I think that is probably the worst effect that they've done, honestly, because it just looks really bad. uh, but you know, it works. The thing that did confuse me about the post credit scene too was like I understood that they talked about incursions and how like one character from another multiverse is enough to cause the universes to collide, which I think is a really freaking weak system. Like I could imagine like yes, these multiverses are separated by a cosmic shield from all the other multiverses, but if one person happens to be out of place, then it's all fucked.
Yeah.
Because then you get like it makes me confused about other stuff. Like I know the TVA, like that was something I thought was interesting too. Thinking about this because the timeline is now really interesting to me because you think about all the Marvel movies. They all take place on the main prime whatever timeline, 616 we'll call it, and we have Loki, which then establishes that now there's no longer just one timeline, but a cacophony, a multiverse of all these different timelines and peoples and whatnot. And then at the same time, like in our universe, it's almost like these multiverses have always existed, even though they haven't, kind of thing.
Steven?
So I just find it fascinating. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
It's because. No, I'm not saying you're saying it's a bad thing. You want to know the answer?
Sure.
Because all of time is happening at the same time.
Yes. So like I like that. I do. I like how it's suddenly like we haven't done multiversal stuff. That kind of magic is weird and it's strange and it's we don't know what's gonna happen. Yep. And then it's but now they do it and it's like oh all this multiverses have worked. Though I do think I feel like we should have seen more multiverses. Like I know it's an infinite pool of multiverses. That's one of the lines. There's an infinite amount of other universes that you can pull from. So now no character is ever dead ever. But
The version you know, maybe.
yeah, and I just feel like part of it is we should see more of the universes where Thanos won. You know, we sure we got to jump through. We'll say 10 different multiverses, but we only get a brief glimpse of them. Like one of them they turn into paint, another one they start turning into cubes. Like one of them they were cartoons. Like that was cool. um but like I because the whole thing is like Doctor Strange and Thanos, like that's a whole argument in this and like character development wise it's like what are we gonna do, what's Doctor Strange gonna do, why did all this stuff happen, I was in the right, whatnot. And we know from Infinity War that there are 1,006,000 blah 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 other timelines, aka other universes where they fucking failed in saving them. And so I want to see some of those failures. Like we got 5 years, sure, kind of.
Well, and that's just based off of their exact. Like, that would just be based off of, like, 616 adjacent universes, too.
Yeah.
Like, timeline-wise. Because, like, not every timeline is a multiverse. If that makes sense, too.
I get you.
Sort of. In a sense. Because, like, some will just be a timeline that, like, it that like it's a loop timeline thing,
Yeah, where
or
it
like
bubbles back.
it breaks off and bubbles back. Dude, I'm just curious to see where we go at this point. I can't wait. This has opened so many fucking doors.
Let's see, other ththings to talk
Also,
about.
Bruce Campbell has a cameo.
Bruce Campbell. Yes.
Plates a papa.
I loved that, by the way. Like Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell have worked together for so long. I love, especially the post credit sequence. It's over, and then it cuts. It's like everyone in my theater laughed.
Same.
It was great. Oh Jesus! One thing also, fucking the death at the end of the movie. Is Wanda actually dead?
No.
I would think the same. Because once again, all she has is rocks fall on her. Sure, it's a giant tower, but she can literally change anything she wants at will. And
She ain't dead.
Yeah, she ain't dead. Even though they try to play it off as maybe she is, maybe she isn't. If she is, that's a little disappointing. Like,
especially for me, Midnight Suns, yo.
like if this Wanda, our version of Wanda, is actually dead, it's a little disappointing because that character is a lot of people's favorite characters now, and it just is an abrupt ending. And
She's not gone.
yeah, and what she does with like the Darkhold, it doesn't make sense to me. How she's able to destroy the Darkhold and like the place of its birth in their universe, and she's able to still somehow manage to destroy it across all multiverses, supposedly. That irks me a little. Man.
I'm curious how that works out, but
Okay, let's see. Other thing. Anything else that needs to be talked about? Maybe America, actually. America Chavez. I liked how they portray her powers, like the big star and the gaps and all that stuff. I thought that was cool. But like you said, the whole she's a MacGuffin. And then the movie ends. Like the whole thing's like, we need for you to learn how to control your powers. Except you've actually known this whole time. Whoa. The whole point of this movie was kind of pointless. Huh.
yeah, a little silly, but fuck it.
But it helps establish like a more character development for Wanda, which Wanda at this point I don't think really needed. But like I don't think the whole oh my goodness, what have I done kind of like ending was enough either. I don't know.
She's not dead. She'll be back. Sorry, I'm hungry. So
No,
I'm
I
like
get you.
trying to get food ready. Because if I hold off any longer, I'm gonna die.
We're pretty much done here, I think.
Okay. News?
Trying to think anything. Who was that fucking bull character, the Minotaur?
He's just a student. I can't remember if he has any significance or not.
I feel like he should, since he's the only Minotaur we've seen in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, where did this half bull man come from? Is he actually half bull, or was that a magic problem? Like, I want to know more. Because they used the bull guy as, like, interesting cinematography moments where they could sit, like, put Wanda in the middle of his horns, and, like, it looked cool, but it's like, what? Why? Oh, well. Now, the question I have, so we have our multiverse.
Yes.
And Doctor Strange can make the mirror dimension in our multiverse.
Yes.
Is the mirror dimension its own multiverse? Or are there different versions of the mirror dimension in different multiverses?
Man, I don't know.
And then another question I have is... It's actually two. Okay, so post-credit scene, mid-credit scene. I know, you're hungry. You want to end this. This is my show. Too bad.
Motherfucker is
Eat your fries and be happy.
eat my burger. Hungry.
The back to like the multiversal stuff. I like when the portal opened at the end credits, mid-credit scene, and we got to see what's her name from the Dark Dimensions. I was like, wait, that's the Dark Dimensions. What the fuck is happening? And then she's like, you've started an incursion. And that made me confused because once again, the whole like delicate balance between multiverses, being that one person is enough to cause an incursion. But then I was like, isn't the Dark Dimension its own
I think you
dimension?
are.
Yes, I'm overthinking this.
I think you're hung up on one phrase where they said potential for an incursion. It's not a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What probably caused the fucking incursion? You want to know what caused it? Probably. Wanda.
Well, like in the Dark Dimensions, though.
No, the Dark Dimension didn't have an incursion. She like Chell is literally just trying to like fix the issue.
Okay. Because I feel like what that was, from what I understood, it was he started an incursion with the Dark Dimension and 616, where they're colliding because of what he did with Caecilius. Surprised I remembered that. I remembered Caecilius, but I couldn't remember Nick Fury. Like how he was sent to the Dark Dimension with all of his lackeys with Dormammu.
Right.
I feel like that's what caused this incursion in the post-credit scene. But we don't know. That's speculation.
You're being very hung up on like one line of like John Krasinski being like, it's enough to potentially cause an incursion. You're being very hung up on that line.
Lines are important.
I'm not arguing with you there, but I'm just saying sometimes you read too much into things. But continue on your second question.
I can't remember what it is now.
Okay.
Okay, we can move on.
Fucking hell. There,
Hey, don't be angry.
I'm hungry. I'm getting hangry, okay? I'm sorry. I can't fucking help it.
Well,
have food right there. I just can't eat yet.
Okay, let's talk about news and stuff real quick. Just wrap this up as best we can. Let's see. I haven't really seen a lot of interesting news, honestly. I wanted to briefly talk about, like, we brought up Jean-Luc Picard with Patrick Stewart. Picard season 2 ended. It was terrible, especially compared to season 1. I was very disappointed. So, watch it with a grain of salt for anyone who cares. Moon Knight finally ended. That was interesting. Not bad at all. Let's see. We know Kenobi's coming out fairly soon. Let's see. I had something. There's articles about Doctor Strange breaking the movie rating system. You didn't know Scream 6 is in the works.
Hey.
Yeah. Let's see here. I actually saw the trailer for the new Game of Thrones series coming out. I'm a little interested. One of the things I liked about Game of Thrones was the lack of like super visual effects for a very fantasy heavy thing, and I like the realistic, grounded nature of it. So I'm kind of excited to see where at least the prequel goes, especially because I like Matt Smith. I think he's an actor. Crazy shit's happening with the Johnny Depp case versus Amber Heard. I don't know if that's been resolved yet, but
Oh,
yeah, I think they're on like a week-long break, so people can rest and then get back into it. I'm not sure. Let's see. Eh, I can't find the news that interested me before. So I guess we just talk
next
about what's
week's
happening next week's movies. Yeah. Which next week is interesting, to say the least, I think. Go for
Yep.
it.
It's Brightburn and Firestarter.
Woo! More horror movies. More scary superhero shit. I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah. Be prepared for that. Oh, this is. I just saw an article here. I'm not gonna.
Why do you do this? Okay, okay.
We're not gonna get into it too much. The only reason why I bring it up here is because, like, I saw a lot of hate for Doctor Strange 2 on the internet. Like, people like, was it worth the hype? Is this a good movie? Like I said about it, talking about the rating system and how, like, I was like, is PG-13 really a good enough rating for this movie with some of the shit that they do? But now another thing, another article from slashfilm.com. The person named Raphael, the guy who wrote it, his title is, I saw Doctor Strange 2, but nothing in it was was as exciting as the trailer for Avatar 2. That's a bad take. That's a really bad take.
I didn't even know that trailer dropped. I'm not gonna lie, until I went to the theater Saturday and went, oh, they dropped a trailer for this. Yay. And immediately went, oh god, I'm gonna hate my life when we review this.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mentioned this on Twitter. I don't know if anyone noticed. Like, I feel like the worst thing about Avatar 2 isn't the fact that even if like, Avatar 2 is going to be stupid and, like, hypocritical again, like the last movie was, of course. But the worst part about it is if it has all the hype and does what the first movie did, it doesn't, like, dethrone Disney in any way, because now Searchlight Studios is owned by Disney, so Disney's still gonna have the highest grossing film of all time, which kind of bugs me. Like, don't get me wrong, Disney, you're okay, you're awful, and you're okay, but I want somebody else to make a good movie, you know? Like, I want something that
Right.
doesn't have the Disney polish on it.
Yes, okay, other people make good movies.
But not top 10 highest grossing films of all time kind of movies.
Steven, I'm sorry, that's just not gonna happen.
We need to make our own studio. Wait.
Steven, no, listen. Nothing we could
are.
make would break that fucking top 10.
Says you, I'm a genius.
Okay, can we wrap up?
Yeah, we're done.
I'm very fucking hungry.
All right, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the bullshit. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.